got a unit in here today that hasn't received any attention in a couple months now. And the last time it received some attention, well, it was kind of haggard attention. But today we're here to clean this thing up a little bit in preparation to do some cool stuff with this thing this year. So take a look at it. I'm sure you guys have seen this thing before. It's the Badillac. You got a 2004 DeVille on the 1990 Chevy K2500 chassis, powered by a 5.3 liter on Holley Terminator X with nitrous. You know the deal. So if you're new to the channel or haven't really followed the build on this, kind of built this car in essentially 4 days to go to Holley LS Fest a couple months back, and did another burnout with it the week after we did the burnout at LS Fest. Sat for a couple months, went down to Cletus and Cars with this thing, did some last minute haggard things to get this thing running and go to Florida. Got third place in the open class down at Cletus and Cars. Haven't really done anything with it since. And some of the stuff I want to do to this thing, or do with this thing this year, includes driving it on the road, includes doing more burnouts, includes driving it off-road. And a lot of the things we did to this thing to get it running weren't the cleanest. So while this car is not necessarily the cleanest car, or it's not necessarily built to look right or good, it's built to be unique. So there's some stuff that's going to remain kind of haggard, like this hockey puck shim for the radiator, but I want it to be reliable and essentially problem-free. So it's been pretty much like that as it comes to burnouts, but for driving it on the road and kind of making it look halfway presentable, there's some stuff that needs to be cleaned up and addressed on it. Namely, a lot of wiring. So you can see we have a ton of wiring here that isn't loomed, isn't in any sort of sheathing, just kind of zip tied. Our friends John and Scott did a great job of cleaning it up to make it look this good, because before they touched it, it was a rat's nest. But still want to cover this stuff up with some loom, protect these wires. You can see in areas there's a ton of excess wires. So this was originally a truck, and when we put the body on it, we didn't really, we kind of did it as quickly as possible. So shortening up wires that we didn't have to was done by zip tying them together. You can see down here for our engine oil cooler, we got a big bulk mess of wires there. So I'd like to address some stuff like that. Get rid of excess wires. They're just, you know, some problem areas, or areas that there could be problems. When you shorten that stuff up, you just remove a lot of the potential for there to be issues. Same thing with some of these spark plug wires. You can see they're kind of, you know, in the area of the suspension, close to the headers. I want to fix all that. Sorry, the lighting was really bad there for a second, but you can see these just need to be, you know, modified a little bit, shortened up, rerouted. And then there's also some plumbing stuff that needs to change. This engine oil cooler, like I said, you can see these oil lines are just kind of routed around the frame to take up slack. I'd like to shorten these up, move this so the fittings are up to kind of get them out of the way of any obstacles or things that could strike them and damage them. And then underneath here we have a transmission cooler that hangs below the frame. So I'd like to relocate that. I think I'm going to put that up towards the front of the car. So decent sized project today, nothing too crazy. Just going to clean up some wiring and relocate some coolers and modify some plumbing. But it's stuff that needs to be done. I do want to make this look presentable. I know I joked about the hockey puck spacer for the radiator, but just clean wiring, clean air wiring is kind of a necessity, and kind of step one into getting this thing ready to be street legal. So another thing that I've encountered with this car is we've removed a lot of the factory electronics out of this thing, namely a lot of stuff on the CAN bus. The factory ECU, the SDM, a lot of that stuff's gone. And with all the fuses plugged in, like the electrical system just kind of wigs out. There's battery draws, stuff doesn't work. So I'd like to simplify the wiring for the critical components of this, like the lighting, the radio, got to be able to listen to tunes, just stuff like that. So if any of you guys know a company that would make like a universal standalone wiring harness for like the factory electronics, lights, you know, horn, radio, just the basics, seats, windows, that might be interested in working with us on this project, comment below because that'd be great. So need to have functioning windows and all the lighting and stuff if we want to drive this on the road. But for today, we're going to focus on what we've got in front of us that we can. So we're going to shorten some wires up, relocate some stuff, and just have fun working on this. So the cool thing is it's a pretty serviceable car. There's a lot of room to do stuff, a lot of room for activities. So I think we're going to be in good shape. I'm going to start on the wiring, start by cutting some zip ties, just getting some stuff out of the way, and get the main event look a little bit nicer. This is the next day. Actually went to Jimmy John's last night, and if you guys ever been to Jimmy John's, they got a 16-inch sandwich. Yeah, I got the 16-inch French bread sandwich. The number 5, the Vito, is very good. But turns out after you consume that, you know, you can't actually work, so I didn't do anything after that. But we got some special guests here. Hey guys, where you been? Besides being in that last video we did on Scud's Jeep, what's been going on? Had a lot of people inquiring, you know, if we were still friends, or, you know, if you guys are doing your own thing. What's going on?
We had to do our own thing for a little bit. You know, we had to go off to California. Okay. They cast us for the Minion movie, so...
Oh, no way!
Set for life, dude.
Really? So you guys just retired?
Retired. Yep.
Dang.
Doing what we want, when we want now.
Exactly. It's nice, dude. So super nice.
No kidding. Well, I appreciate you guys, you know, taking your time out of your day to come out and help me on this. That means a lot. So you guys kind of know what we got to do. We got to relocate some stuff. We got to clean up some wires. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff to do. If we have time, we can take off this brand new power steering pump that went bad. That's cool. Super happy about that. That's fun. But yeah, that's about it. So I don't know. Where do you guys want to start? What do you guys want to do? I'll do whatever you guys don't want to do.
Probably start with moving the coolers, because that's going to be kind of the biggest thing. So we'll try and get that attacked first.
Okay.
See if we need to make up some new lines or anything.
Yeah, we should have enough length. I actually got some top secret cutters for this hose, so that should make things pretty easy. So
sweet.
The way that sounds.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Well, let's get to work. So this is some of the unfortunate stuff I'm talking about when I say we got to do some wiring cleanup. So again, built this car in essentially 4 days. A lot of stuff was not super cleanly done, so we got to tuck some of these wires up. One thing I do need to address is our alternator charge wire. If you guys remember, when we were down in Florida, we were having some issues with our alternator being kind of temperamental, and there's one wire that's like a switched ignition wire with a resistor built in that goes to the alternator to turn it on, make it charge. So I think somewhere in the vicinity of where my finger's at right there, there's a broken contact in there, a broken wire. So we're gonna replace this whole assembly here. I'm gonna cut it on the inside of the car and then hopefully just pull the new connector through and then rewire that up, and then we'll be able to get to tucking the wires. Gotta have good alternator. That's nice oil. Do you wanna reuse that?
Yeah.
Oh, are you putting that in your new motor for your Jeep?
Yeah.
It's a good break-in oil because it's already broke in, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's got some metal particulate in there. That helps.
Yeah, I hope not, but it doesn't look the cleanest. I'm gonna blame that on the E85, you know, it's...
Yeah, just a little moisture in there.
Ain't no big
problem.
deal. No big deal. All right, guys, check this out. If you ever got to replace a wire, this is a top secret trick. I don't even know if you guys know about this. You probably do, though. So you might say, oh, yeah, you got to, you know, reach your hand in underneath the intake and, you know, run that new wire through there, and, you know, that's super hard. But guess what? You don't have to do that. Check this out. We're going to take our old junk wire. Ready for this? See that old junk wire? Listen, you hear it? Snip, gone. We're gonna take our new wire and tape the new wire to the old wire, following me? And then pull through the car. Easy as that.
Dude, that's a good thing right there.
Easy
No
as that.
snacks, no hiccup.
Well, he just said that, so I mean, it's probably gonna be...
Jinx stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scud.
Damn.
We'll try it out. We'll let you know how it works, though, guys. We got Scud inside. He's going to try and pull the new wire through. Yeah, give her a little tug. Oh, it's moving. Oh, hold on. I think it's hung up on something. Maybe on the firewall?
Yeah, looks like it.
Behind the firewall, maybe?
Hung up over on that side.
Really?
Yeah, somewhere.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, it should come straight out, I think. All right, stand by, guys. Okay, new wires plugged in the alternator. She was hung up a little bit in the back. Got it freed up, pulled through, no problem. Just got to wire it in now. You guys got this done already?
Oh, not even close yet. But we're just taking it easy, man. We're tired, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to stress you guys out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, young man, you got that oil cooler out already. What's your plans now?
Oh, just gave her a little wipe down, and now I'm gonna make a rubber isolator for the bottom of it. Gonna try and make the mounting a little bit more pro. It was mounted with some self-tappers before.
I think a lot of things on this car are mounted with self-tappers. I mean,
yeah, we're gonna try and change that.
Yeah,
make it a
self-tapper
little bit
come out, something else go in, either through bolt or riv nut or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Dang, look at that floor mat. That thing's nice. So I got some wires zip tied up there. We have this interior piece that should cover this up that I'm not able to install right now. As you guys can see, got some of this dash out. And over there, you can see the factory gauge cluster is removed. Actually have that sent off to my friend Corey at Car Chains 3D. He does 3D printing and does a lot of stuff for Holly dashes and custom mounts and stuff. So he's making a custom mount to go where the factory gauge cluster would to accommodate our 7-inch Holly dash. So no longer will we have to worry about that thing sitting on top of the steering column flopping around. So it's going to be mounted securely in the factory location. Going to look super nice. So just wait to get that back and we'll be able to put some of the interior back together. But maybe not if we rewire this thing like right away, which I hope we do. We'll see. But let's go check in on the other guys and see how they're coming along. Hey,
man,
drilling some holes, huh?
Yeah, we got it all marked out where the two coolers are gonna lay. Now we're just drilling our holes. We got to do a little bit of cutting right here, so we'll be able to get to the backside to be able to through bolt them.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal. So I was kind of skeptical about putting everything in front of the radiator, but with the fans we have on these things, I don't think it's going to really impede the cooling ability of the radiator. One of the things I've prided this setup on is its ability to stay cool when doing a 2-minute long burnout. I mean, I've said it before, this thing doesn't get over 200 degrees coolant temp. So that's very impressive, and I mean, it's part of the key of success to having this thing be a good working unit. But I think we're going to be okay. This radiator from Be Cool is giant. The fans on this thing move a ton of air. The fans on those coolers also move a ton of air. So if you guys haven't seen these, this is what we're using for an engine oil cooler. This is an Earl setup. It's like their, I think this is 20 row. It's got the dual fans on it. That's the trans cooler. This is 34 row. This is even more. Bigger fan on that unit. And, I don't really monitor the temperatures of this stuff. Maybe I'll do that in the future, but probably not. Okay. But we really haven't had any sort of temperature-related failure. We obviously broke the trans before. That was a hard part failure, not really related to the trans fluid temperature. This stuff just works. So maybe in the future I'll make a how to build like a successful burnout car, because as far as I'm concerned, this thing's a champ. It's proven itself, and it's very reliable. Just flat out work. So maybe I'll talk about some of the stuff that you need if you want to seriously compete in an event like that. But
that's a good idea.
I think that stuff's going to look pretty good up there. It's going to give us good ground clearance. Not going to have to worry about smoking any of that stuff if we eat this a little bit, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to look good. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, William.
Stevie, is that you?
Dude, in the blood.
Oh, you doing a little cutting, huh?
Yeah, it's not going the best, but nothing a grinder can't clean up.
You need a new blade, or what's happening here?
Yeah, I'm thinking we might need a new blade. She's a little dull.
Okay, we can probably find something for that. But what are you cutting that for?
Well, we got to be able to access the bottom of where we're going to be putting the bolts through.
Why?
Well, otherwise, how are you going to tighten them up?
Well, that's your job to figure out. Not mine, dude. I'm doing wiring. What do you mean?
I'm figuring it out, dude.
So we got this mess right here. This is the radiator fan wiring. So this was all zip tied up nice. These guys did a good job of that. But this is literally, like I said before, the length that was in the previous truck body setup. So we're just getting rid of a lot of this stuff and making it look a whole lot nicer. So gonna do some cutting, some crimping, some heat shrinking, some lumen. So this will be pretty nice when we're done, I think. Can't do everything. We still need to get the wiring for the trans cooler ran back up here, because that's ran to the back where that was mounted. And once we get all that stuff kind of laid out there, we can figure everything out. And then once that stuff's actually mounted, we'll be able to do a pretty nice job of tucking everything in. So I think we're going to grab some lunch pretty soon, though.
Dude, luncheon. That sounds good to me.
Oh, yeah.
All right, quick update here. Radiator fan wiring, we got that pretty much all cleaned up. Might remember the big glob of wires right there. I think we saved about 13 pounds by removing all that wire out of there. These guys been fabbing some stuff over here, cutting some holes, ventilating some stuff. We got the 2 coolers mounted right here. Those look really good. Not tight yet? Okay, good.
In the process.
Yeah, those look sweet. So once those are tightened down, I'll be able to work on the wiring. And then these guys will be able to get the hoses up here and trim those up a little bit, make them fit.
Yep.
We'll be in good shape. Outside of that, I mean, I got a couple more runs of wire loom to run back there. Just make that look a little bit nicer. It's not going to be a perfect job, but we'll cover up some of the stuff. Just make it look a little bit nicer than what it currently is. I've also got to shorten up some of these spark plug wires. I don't know if that's going to be a today thing or not. I don't have my wire crimping tool here. I would have to go get it, but yeah, good progress on this thing so far.
Yeah,
I'm
not bad at all.
real happy with that. Well, it's looking good. Maybe we'll do a little lapse of the time, as the YouTubers say right now.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I like that.
Guys, my wiring project, I'll be honest with you, just about done. Could probably spend 4 more hours, undo everything, make everything look really nice, but most of the wires are protected now. It's cleaned up. No more gobs of bundles of wires here all zip tied together. All the excess is taken care of. It's functional. Our alternator wire is now tight. That's pretty cool. Turns out that was finger tight. Not great. You blame Scud for that. Hey, no big deal. What are you guys working on?
We're just making a securing bracket for the top of these just to give us a little extra rigidity.
Oh yeah, good idea.
And then Scud had plumbed the lines pretty close, but we had to put the brackets on first before we tighten those up, and I think we're getting pretty close to being done too. Nice.
That's a good deal. Those brackets are looking really nice, actually. What are those made out of?
Stainless steel.
Really?
304.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pro. But you know what? This car's pro, turns out.
Definitely.
It's not the best looking thing, but we've got some plans for this thing this year. We were talking about stuff, and well, it's going to be on the road, driving on the street, the same roads that you guys watching this are on. So watch out, okay? And give us some ideas on where you think we should take this thing and what we should do with it outside of doing burnouts and, you know, all the standard stuff. Like, we're going to make the 4-wheel drive work on this. That shouldn't be a big deal. We're going to get rear brakes on it. We're going to redo the front end. If you guys know anyone that would want to, you know, hook us up with a front end kit for this, like some nice arms and, you know, tie rods, and these guys have a real big issue with the CVs that are on there, even though they don't even click. I mean, but if you guys know, if you guys know someone, let us know. But yeah, these guys are going to get back to the brackets. I'm probably just going to watch them build some stuff. And yeah, it's a good day working on the Badillac. It's coming together. Looking good. All right, it's a couple days later. John and Scott, they had to fly back out to California. They're casting for like the 8th Minions movie, so I don't know what's going on there. But they put in some hard work on this thing. Turned out great. So I got the plug wires wrapped up, got everything tightened up with the coolers up front, wired, loomed, all that good stuff. Take a look at it. Turned out pretty sweet, I think. So here's our coolers. This is the trans cooler. Lines were about the perfect length. Didn't have to make any changes to those, so I was very happy with that. Here's our oil cooler. Had to shorten these lines up a little bit. Got them zip tied down there. You might be able to see. No, you can't. But trust me, they're zip tied. Everything's wired in, loomed up. Looks pretty good to me. And then I don't think I focused too much on the plug wires before, but they were super long. So right now I've got these running from the front of the engine to the back, and they're all zip tied. They're zip tied on this side to the transmission cooler lines away from the primaries. And then over on this side, I might have to make a little change because they're kind of close to the bolt for the intermediate shaft. It might hit when you turn, but same thing there. Routed from the front to the back. Got pretty good clearance. Might have to make a change, but we'll just wait to see on that. But overall, engine bay looking way cleaner than when we started, so I'm super happy with that. And so while it's here, I'm going to go into the Crown Rick and get the ECU out of that to put into the Badillac. If you guys didn't see the video where I talked about that, the Badillac had a Holley Terminator X Max in it, which allows you to control the transmission, like an electronically controlled transmission, and also like a drive-by-wire setup, electronic throttle. This obviously has neither one of those, and I'm putting a 4L80 in the Crown Rick, so we're going to take the Badillac ECU, put that in the Crown Rick ECU in the Badillac. I'm just going to get that out of the way, and that'll be done so we can focus on the next phase of this project. So I'm going to go out to the Crown Rick and grab that, and going to have to change the tune in that. It's super simple with the Holley software. Just going to upload the correct tune from the Badillac, since we have that saved, into the Crown Rick ECU. We'll be able to fire this thing up and hear it once again. I mean, this thing, one of the best sounding vehicles there is. It's just indisputable. Cam in this thing, giant. So ECU out of the Crown Rick. Fortunately, when this was put together, made it super simple to service mostly everything on this car. So I will say I miss sitting in this thing. Hopefully we can get this transmission swap going pretty soon. Got the harness for it right there. Just got to put that ECU in and get the actual transmission, and we'll be in good shape. Let's throw this thing in the Badillac. Well, guys, unfortunately, when I was plugging this ECU in, I noticed that one of the main connectors, I don't know if you can see it, the lock tab, focus, please. The lock tab had broken off of that right there, so this doesn't actually lock into the tang on the ECU. So to fix that, we're going to take 1 or 2 zip ties, and we'll just run that through the connector and wrap it around the ECU so it stays fastened in. Not ideal, but pretty much all we could do unless we get another connector and repin everything, which is not an option right now. So this will work. All right, got the Labby top open. Open up the global file. Badillac. Let's key this thing up. So we'll just write it. Do a little ignition cycle quick. Okay, we should be good. I'm going to disable the ECU, and I'm just going to kind of try and prime the engine a little bit, roll it over a few times since we have that engine oil cooler unhooked, and this has some thicker oil in it, and try and build a little oil pressure. So just going to roll it over a little bit. All right, well, I don't know if that's enough, but we're going to let her eat. Here we go. 14 3-volts. Good thing we replaced that alternator wire and got that main battery cable tightened up. That's cool. Beautiful sight. Beautiful sight. We got so much done on this thing, and having it fire right up and sound like that after sitting for a couple months and a lot of work done to it, you can't beat that. And it really invigorates me to start working on this thing more and get it ready to drive on the road and off-road and a bunch of other places. So like I said, if you guys want to see this in a specific spot, drop a comment below where I should take it once we get it all dialed in, figured out, four-wheel drive working. I'm open to ideas. I think this thing will do some pretty cool stuff, and well, that's why I'm working on it. So appreciate your guys' support in this matter, as always. We'll have more Badillac stuff coming up, more side-by-side stuff coming up, more everything stuff coming up. That's what we do around here. So, again, appreciate your guys' support in this matter. We'll see you in a couple days.